I often get asked every week, who would you rather be, an Essendon supporter or a Carlton supporter? That's a tricky question. I think both aren't setting the world on fire. Imagine being a Melbourne supporter. Wowee, what a week for them. I mean, it was good to see the Dons get a win. Carlton's still 0-3. Melbourne are getting botched by what people think are pretty mediocre sides. All that more to come. We'll address each game over the rounds. But first, need to address some housekeeping things. So, I don't know if you caught the podcast the other night, Supercoach Swordplay podcast. So, it got a bit hostile there at the start, but I need to address it. It was completely scripted. So, I was talking to DR just before the podcast, maybe like an hour or so before. Like, we should play a bit of a prank on Janath. Let's just start ripping into each other and catch him off guard. And he was just the poor bugger. He's just sitting there like these guys are just gonna have an all-in biff. So yeah, basically, the plan was DR went to the Essendon Adelaide game with all the boys. I couldn't make it. I had football on myself. And he's just like, where are you, Spillsy? I'm like, oh yeah, someone's going to get 2 kicks in 1 quarter of footy or something like that. And then I basically called him an old man and stopped bumping into poles and shit like that. And Janath's just sitting there, the poor bugger. He had no idea. Like, DR and I were both in on it. It's never getting that hostile. It was 100%. We were both in on it. And yeah, apologies, Janath. Yeah, we love you, but yeah, we just thought we'd throw you under the bus. I'm sure he will plead for revenge. But a very interesting week in football. So yesterday I had a pracky match again. So played 6 quarters of footy. So yeah, both seniors and reserves. I'm absolutely cooked right now. Had a recovery at Healthy Mates this morning. Yeah, full body cramp yesterday. I was absolutely knackered. So we played Malden. And gee, did those blokes play their grand final, a pracky match? They went at us. It was, quite intimidating, to be honest. I remember tackling the guy that I was playing on. I got him twice, actually. And both times I put him on the ground, he's got up and given me a bit of a shove and gone on with it. And on the second one, he kind of got me on the boundary line in front of our bench. And one of the boys, I can't remember who it was, saw that and then went over and gave it to him while I was on the ground laughing. I'm just thinking, this bloke's just taking the piss. But no, they were very strong. They were a good side. So yeah, we got plenty of work to do there. It was a good hit out, and yeah, can't wait for the season to rip in, or can't wait to rip into the season next week, which should be pretty exciting. And yeah, from a football side of things, AFL wise, I guess we could start on the first game. So the Dons, they finally got a win, and gee, no one saw this one coming. I didn't see it coming, but I think we can all agree that this is one of the most boring games of football we've ever seen. In a Supercoach sense, I would have pissed myself if anyone. I would have told you get stuffed if anyone told me that Pryor and Reid were going to outscore Rosie and Horn Francis. I think Horn Francis did outscore Pryor, but as a collective, the Essendon backline rookies were much better than the Port Adelaide midfield. Horn Francis, not horny at all. He's not horny. He's deprived. He's struggling. He's playing full forward, seen none of it. Had one of the biggest clangers I've ever seen. It was a uncontested mark in the end. It basically bounced off his chest. He kind of got tackled, but he made up for it in the 4th quarter. So it wasn't looking too bad, but I will probably be trading him. I can't cop this. You can't have this at F1. And my boy Connor Rosé, gee, it was a tough one. Do you go Max Holmes or you go Rosé? Last week when I went Rosé, I'm feeling pretty bloody bullish on it. Holmes was amazing last night, and has that defensive DPP. So I sort of think if I had my time again, I would have gone a big Maxi Holmes. But yeah, Connor Rosé, very highly owned by the top 1%. So I hope it doesn't affect us too much. But yeah, just a bizarre game of football. It was good to see the Dons get the win. Sardo Hawley, is he going to be sub every game? He played out of his skin when he come on. It was bloody impressive. That is one of the best pieces of play that I've seen from the Dons in a long time. So he just takes it on. He's looking every bit as good, if not better, than Adam Sard, just running off half back. Yeah, just crazy stuff. Kicks it to Kako and a quick little tap, a bit of Surioli about that one. And then Nick Martin with all the poise in the world. So that was the cream on the top of a pretty resilient Essendon win, but 9 goals, 18 is quite concerning. I do like what we're doing. Like, we're a young crop, but I still think we have culture issues. And I mean, people would know I'm not the biggest fan of Brad Scott. I think he needs to cheer up a bit more and let the players be themselves and have a bit more fun. You don't really see that positive energy around the footy club. And yeah, Port Adelaide had a bit of a mare. We kicked them pretty hard in the midfield, and yeah, Zach Merritt another 34 disposals. So he's influential. If he's kicking 2 goals straight, not 0 goals too, he's probably getting another 3 votes. So yeah, it's good to see the Dons get a win, but yeah, I'm still not convinced on them. I reckon they've got a lot of work to do. Friday night, Carlton, Western Bulldogs, the Blues. They're 0-3. What's going on? Has anyone seen that Dan Does Footy post that had me pissing myself, or he's just yelling into his hoodie or whatever in the bathroom? And he's probably woken up his missus and the kids. So yeah, he's absolutely rattled. I think Janath would be rattled as well. It's not the start Carlton wanted. And I said this last week, but they're not playing that bad. Their pressure's through the roof, particularly early. Like, their pressure rating was really good, but yeah, the Dogs, they just found a way. And Curnow looked like he was back. He played with a chip on his shoulder. He looked terrible the other week, and then yeah, he comes out and what did he kick? I think he kicked 3 goals, 1. So that's a pretty good effort. But yeah, Libba's in there. He's dominating. TDK was the worst VC fade ever. Got out of jail. He was on track for 150 and did a few dodgy things late. Scaled down to 133. So yeah, avoided that one. But I think Sam Davidson, he was the one that was just so impressive. This guy is, I don't know, he's in SPP rookie, but 31 disposals, like 20 kicks. He was everywhere. He plays with a lot of heart. Yeah, he's up there, one of their best players at the moment. That's saying something, because you got Sam Darcy down forward just taking contested marks. He's taken the P155, this bloke. They're absolutely dominant. Richards was good. So yeah, just a little bit too much class, the Doggies. And yeah, that's obviously without Treloar and Bontempelli. So yeah, when those names return, it'll be interesting to see how they go. Freya and Dale weren't too good either in a Supercoach sense, particularly Freya. Like, Dale, he had a very, very good score assist late that pumped up his score. Was on the phone with DR as that happened, and I can hear the rage in his voice. And then when that assist, he's like, "Come on, Spillsy, let's go, come on." He's like, mate, this is a bloke that absolutely loves his Supercoach. Kudos to your DR. Yeah, very well deserved. You'd take an 80 from Dale every day of the week, considering where the game was at. He just did not look like the pick. So yeah, good win by the Dogs, and yeah, they're looking pretty good. So yeah, that's something. And speaking of looking good, you got Matty Rowell and the Gold Coast Suns. They played their first and last game at the MCG. And yeah, they just took the piss out of Melbourne, who, gee, they've got some problems, Melbourne. They are in all sorts of trouble. And I think David King raised this point on, was it Fireball? But yeah, he's basically saying that these aren't bad, like, these aren't good teams. Like, it's not like they're playing Collingwood or Brisbane or Sydney or anything like that. They're playing North and Gold Coast, who, like, yeah, you expect improvement, but they're not the top tier sides, and they're just conceding 60 points from both sides. So Matt Rowell, 36 disposals. He dominated. Noble was fantastic. Anderson, Oliver was good. Still had his 31. A little bit wasteful. So yeah, for Supercoach, that did hurt. We had a few standouts. Humphrey was an interesting one as well. Flanders was back. And Max Gawn, he was good without being great, but just looks a step below what he was last year. And that's looking like a extremely dire pick. Langford, he was good. So he'd be someone that if you started, you'd be pretty stoked with. Looked like a bit of a flop rookie for an elevated price. He had 26 disposals and kicked a really nice goal late. So yeah, he was good. We'll see if we can bring him in this week. And the Melbourne rookies failed immensely. So yeah, I bought in Henderson and Lindsay. Yeah, Lindsay got injured in the first quarter. He didn't get injured. I don't know if it was illness. I don't know what happened there. I didn't watch the game. I was too busy playing footy myself, and bloody laying tackles and trying to smash blokes. But yeah, no, it's a game I missed, and I hope Lindsay is okay. And yeah, he's right for next week. But very unfortunate to have him on field, but not as unfortunate as being a Melbourne supporter right now. What's going on with the crowd? I mean, the whole third tier is empty. I know they're playing Gold Coast, but where are they? Are they all at bloody Buller or something? They don't get to games. For a side that's won a premiership in the last 5 years, where are they? I've always had this issue. They never turn up to their own games. I mean, at least I respect your likes of Richmond, Hawthorn, Carlton, Collingwood, basically anyone else that North is is a different one. But it feels like Melbourne, for a team, they should be a lot bigger than they are. The Dons aren't going necessarily great, but we still pack out games. And Thursday night wasn't that packed, but you got to remember it was a Thursday night. Many have work and school the next day. So for what it's worth, it wasn't too bad. But even when we've been going absolutely shit, we still get to the footy. So if you're a Melbourne supporter, back your side in. They'll come good eventually and get to the footy. Cheer them on, get a membership, and yeah, get around them because they deserve a lot more than what looked like 15,000. That's probably been generous at the MCG. It just did not look good for him. And then we got the 4:10, I think it was, Marvel game. St Kilda absolutely pulverised Richmond. So Richmond looked competitive early, just blew out, ran out of steam, and St Kilda, they just went to work and they absolutely smashed it. So, yeah, Jack Sinclair owners, I think the 1% that bought him in, kudos to you where it's due. Fantastic. Really, really good. Rowan was solid, and Jackson McRae still had his 31, and he's number one in the league for score involvements right now. Gee, how's Bevo feeling about that? It's not ideal. So, yeah, he was one that I actually VC'd, and a 120, good but not great. I'm going to bank it. I mean, my team's really struggling at the moment. I've got a lot of work to do, and yeah, I just can't take any unnecessary risks. So, yeah, a bird in the hand is worth more than two in a bush, says old mate Janath. And yeah, I'm going to take his advice there and bank that 120 VC from McRae. Nas and Garcia were good. Short owners, if you held him, he wasn't too bad. It could have been a lot worse. I checked the scores. I thought he was okay, but one that I was pretty happy to avoid. Max Hall, he's a rookie that I had, but unfortunately he was on field, and I ended up fielding Nevitt's 20 instead when you got Hall, who's kicked a couple of goals and had 18 disposals. Stuck on the bench. Very unfortunate, but at least I've got him, so I can't be complaining too much. And not really many other standouts. Travalia looked great on debut. He might be a really good rookie. I wasn't expecting this, so yeah, he was in the midfield. He was becoming a real issue for Richmond in that third quarter. So yeah, Bendigo's very own, Sandhurst's very own. He definitely looks the player. So yeah, hopefully he holds his spot in the side, and more importantly, is not a sub. I suppose the last thing to touch on is if you have Steele, yeah, very unfortunate. He's a bit of a pod. Didn't mind him. And Tom Lynch too. Gee, is he just playing just to fight blokes? What's going on there? He's getting stuck into everyone. He needs to retire. That's a rant in itself. But yeah, great win by the Saints. You'd be absolutely stoked. Hawthorn versus GWS, 37 or 38-2 at quarter time. And then you check at halftime, and it's 40-46 Hawthorn's way. This is the Hawk. They are the real deal. This is glimpses of a premiership coach, someone that's calm under pressure, and that's Sam Mitchell. And he stayed relaxed, and he got the boys over the line. They were filthy. Like the Wizard, just so much aura, so much riz. They look great. They're so good to watch. But not too much relevance here, I suppose, in a Supercoach sense. Whitfield had his 34. He was very, very damaging. And Callahan, my boy, yeah, it's not been a very good week in the midfield. Yeah, the Wizard, as we touched on, only had the one goal, but pushed up the ground and just super damaging. But yeah, not a whole lot of relevance in a Supercoach sense. But yeah, as a game, just really exciting to watch. Just that little comeback Hawthorn had, and to get over the line. And they're now 4-0, sitting quite comfortably on top of the ladder. They look amazing. I think we are getting a bit of a glimpse of the grand final preview. Brisbane will have their say about that. But GWS, can't fault them for the effort. They were pretty bloody solid, and yeah, they deserve to get up as well. But Hawthorn just a little bit too good. Very, very good game to watch. That was the one that I watched because I could not stand anything worse than watching Lachie Neale get tagged by O'Connor. Now, this was the other game that was on last night. So, yeah, Brisbane got up by 9 points against Geelong at the Gabba in a wet scrap. And when I heard the news that Tom Stewart was a late out, I thought that it's death, taxes, and Chris Scott naming late outs for his premium players that might be carrying something. So, Bailey Smith owners would have been very nervous. But Tom Stewart, yeah, that was almost inevitable. So, yeah, that one really hurt because you're thinking O'Connor comes in. Who's he going to? He's going straight to Lachie Neale, my boy, and kept him to, 67 points, I reckon. So, yeah, my midfield is an absolute shambles. I'm sitting at 1.1K in Supercoach. Not for long. I'm definitely dropping this week. It wouldn't matter what happens from now. It's looking extremely doom and gloom. So, yeah, I'm spewing. I'm actually tempted to roll the dice on Cherry and just hope that he smashes Riley O'Brien for a real ceiling game. Bit of point chasing there. But, yeah, let me know. I don't know if it's worth the risk or not. But I can't really comment too much on this game because I did not watch it at all. I watched the last 5 minutes of it when the Hawthorn GWS game finished. But, yeah, Zorko was really good. Holmes was good. He's the one that got away. I really want to bring him in. I think he might be the guy that I look to target this week or next week. Maybe in the midfield for now. And then we push him back later on the season. So I really like him. George is absolutely rattled. Traded out Will Ashcroft for, I can't remember who it was. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all. So, yeah, Will finally repaid the faith to the owners that stuck true with him. So he was great. Bailey Smith had 25 disposals, but absolutely ineffective. 28% efficiency. Now, I know it was wet, and I know it was a bit of a slog, but you've got to be better than that. Do we bring him in this week? I mean, if that's 60%, which is even that's below average, he's tunning up quite comfortably because he's racking it up and he's just a really aggressive player with disposal. A little bit like how I was playing yesterday. I felt like I had a decent game, but I was just turning it over by foot all the time. It was really frustrating. And the options were good. The kicks weren't too bad, but they were just getting intercepted. So, yeah, a little bit of that with Bailey Smith. I can relate to it, and it's a pretty shit feeling. We'll talk about him in the Swordplay potty, but I don't know if we bring him in or not. Very unsure. And, yeah, Lachie Neale tagged. Dunkley was, good without being great, but not real standouts. Let's talk about SDK. How good does he look down back? And if you bought him in, don't you have egg on your face? Subbed out tactically for Mitch Nevitt, not much better. My boy at M8 there, not for long. I don't know. I might trade him this week. I might shaft him on the bench. There's no way I'm fielding Mitch Nevitt when it's not best 18. But yeah, SDK was the one that was stiff to get subbed out. So that makes me feel a little bit better about my Supercoach. But in the grand scheme of things, it's looking pretty shit house. And Levi Ashcroft wasn't too good either. Very unfortunate game. O'Sullivan, I'm looking at fantasy here just on the app, and he actually scored more Supercoach than fantasy. But disposal efficiency was 100%. That's why. 10 disposals, all at 100%. So that's why he's getting 70 Supercoach and what looks like 47 fantasy. So he's a good rookie as well. Not a high accumulator, but he's not wasteful. He hits targets. So yeah, it was good for DR's Lions to get the win. And yeah, very, very upset with Chris Scott because O'Connor has ruined my week. I needed Neale to bounce back. And who would have thought that my M1 and M2 would be outscored by all three defender rookies I have in the back line? Cannot believe it. Absolutely unreal. And games to look forward to. We only got 2 this week or this Sunday. So Adelaide, North Melbourne. North might actually get up here. I wouldn't be surprised. They're knocking on the door. Last week was a real statement game. They might have arrived, but I still think Adelaide will be a little bit too good. Tempted to roll the dice on the Cherry C. Can I pinch another 20 points for the captain? It's point chasing, I know, but so much has gone wrong in the midfield for me. Yeah, I'm not sure yet. I'll have a think about it. And then you got the graveyard shift. The two, they love the graveyard shift, these two. The Western Derby, whatever you want to call it, West Coast Fremantle at 6:10 on a Sunday, infamous graveyard shift. If it's not one of these two teams playing it, it's both of them. So that'll be one that I'll probably miss. I hope it's one of those antipod things. I hope Brayshaw sort of shits the bed because, yeah, I do not want to watch him dominate when the rest of my midfield is in absolute tatters. So, yeah, all in all, a pretty good week for AFL. Plenty of entertainment, but Supercoach is not looking good. I guess we can jump straight into the hotline. We'll start off with Swordplay's very own Nathan Scobie. So Scobes has got one for me. I'm keen to hear it. So yeah, strap yourselves in. I'll make sure the volume's a bit better than it was last week. I noticed a couple of audio issues. So yeah, let's see how we go.
Spillsy, you absolute machine. Scobie here, mate. Good to chat to you. Just wondering, besides the use of illegal narcotics, steroids.
Yeah, together, man.
Sorry, had a frog in the old throat there. Just wondering, what's your bicep training day plan like, mate? Because those pipes, biggest in the Southern Hemisphere I've ever seen. And also, back to Supercoach, what's your thoughts on Bailey Humphrey, mate?
I can't cop that from Scobes. I'm sorry, I can't. Far from it. Biceps are pretty mediocre. I don't know what he's talking about there, but we love Scobes. He's a great man, just a ripper bloke in the community. But Bailey Humphrey, I can't comment too much because obviously I was playing footy at the time. I missed the whole first three quarters, but we'll have a quick look at him. We'll have a look at his heat map and see where he was playing because he did score relatively well. So Humphrey, 23 disposals and a goal. So still looks to have that half forward mid role. Yeah, a lot of time in the offensive half. 52%, 48 defensive. A lot of wing time. Yeah, you're seeing at the fat side of the wing. A couple of CBAs. So I don't know. We'll put him on the agenda and we'll discuss him on the Swordplay potty, mate, because he's one that I can't really comment on. I don't have enough knowledge about him. I haven't studied him enough, but the stats suggest he looks like a good pick, and I'm pretty sure he is relatively cheap, and forward options can be hard to come by. And if you're looking to go horny down to somebody, bank a bit of money, he could be the guy that gets you out of trouble. So, yeah, we'll address that, Scos, but yeah, take it easy, legend. Absolutely love you. You're a legend. Now we got Tice, one of the boys from footy. He's huge and he's Supercoach, so he'd be happy with this. What's he got for me this morning?
Fuck, I heard DR ended up holding on to Zach Reed, an 86 by Zachy fucking Reed. Oh no, DR.
I think DR held him. I definitely held him. I was going to get rid of him. I don't know if you got rid of him or not. I'm pretty sure Tice kept him and had him stuck on the bench for some reason. So yeah, very stiff. I know. What was pretty funny. I was rambling on about like Connor Rosey or whatever being shit, and then Tim Mitchell comments on it. He's like, "Oh, imagine trading out Zach Reed." Well, I'm assuming he did that, and yeah, very stiff. Didn't look like a good rookie at all, but had a statement game. So yeah, we absolutely love that from Reed, and the defender rookies. They showed plenty, so that was a really good sign. So I think that's all I got for the hotline. I've had a bit of a mare here because I've been posting on Twitter and no one's messaged me like hotlines. I'm like, what's going on here? I thought this would take off a little bit more than it did. You can't send voice memos, voice recordings on Twitter. I don't know why. What's the go with that? Elon, mate, turn it up. You get your shit sorted. You can on Facebook Messenger, and I know that, and Instagram, Snapchat, any app ever except X, which is super frustrating because that's where the community is. So I need to sort that out. So next week, hopefully I can, and we get a few more hotlines, but that's why. That's the exact reason. So yeah, just a couple today from obviously people that I know very well. Yeah, but I'd like to get a few random ones for the community. Great engagement there. And before we end things off, let's have a quick look at the Supercoach side and how we're looking. I need to share the screen. Hang on a second. You think I'd learn this after a while of using StreamYard? Okay. Let's have a look. Okay, I'm not a big fan of this better stuff. So whoever runs this, get rid of it. Don't endorse gambling, particularly on Supercoach. Just keep it separated. It's controversial. I won't go into it, but Zorko, fantastic. All the defender rookies were amazing when I needed them. Like we had Bice and Roberts with the bye. So they stood up when it really counted. So, yeah, super proud. But it's just a shame that the midfield primos, so called, if you will, could not do the same. Neil tagged. Rosie couldn't get anywhere near it. Absolutely livid on this one. Oliver, good, just wasteful. Chera was on 100 at basically halfway through the first quarter. Scaled down. Did nothing in the end. Callahan started well, 30 or whatever it was at quarter time. And then 55, sitting on the bench for 10 minutes in the fourth quarter. What's going on, mate? What are you doing? Get up there. Get on the ground, son. What do you mean? So, yeah, I'm flat here. Not a single ton from the top 5 mids in my team. And I'm sitting at 1.1K. Ridiculous. Noddy's still to play. Lindsay, 9. That's unfortunate. Thank goodness for best 18. We hope he's okay. I'm sure he will be. Nevitt. Didn't know Nevitt was subbed. If I knew he was going to be starting sub, I would definitely start Hall against Richmond, who was very, very good. But I can't cop that. I can't cop that 85. So it doesn't mean anything. It just means I got a bit of cash gen on the bench, but the score wasn't on the field when I needed it. TDK would have been a nice VC, but I did get McRae instead. Horn Francis saved his score, but he was still woeful for the most part. Kako was serviceable. Davison was amazing. He was the only positive, really, but he's 70% owned. And I think 8 out of the 10 that picked him had him on field. So there's no real point of difference there. I'm not looking good this week. I'm on track for 1864, and that's best case scenario. That's applying. Cherry dominates, Clark dominates, but it's looking terrible for me. So I just hope we don't get punished enough for it to really hurt our rank. But we'll see how we go. Watch this space. I'll end it here. Yeah, another random episode of Chit Chat with Spillsy. Yeah, let me know what you reckon of the series. And yeah, I'll try and get some hotlines sorted and a better avenue to DM, whether it's on Facebook or not, but we'll sort that out. Yeah, I'll leave it here, guys. I'll see you guys back on the Supercoach Swordplay podcast, and we'll be here this time next week for another episode of Chit Chat with Spillsy. Enjoy the footy. Enjoy your Sunday. Take it easy, everyone. As always, we will see you guys in the next video.